Vikings kick off 2024 with a monster win in the Meadowlands versus the G-Men. Final score 28-6. We're breaking it all down. It's coming up next on the Locked On Vikings POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Vikings POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. First Vikings postcast of the regular season right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings. Ron Johnson over there, host of the Ron Johnson Show every Tuesday. Last but not least, the captain, the glue of the operation, Sam Ekstrom, host of the Minnesota Football Party. Ron, I don't want to overreact too much here. It's just one game, but I'm looking at the schedule, man. I can't find a loss. Not after that beatdown. What about you? What's at the top of your mind here after this one?
I can find a loss in week 2.
No, they're frauds. It's over.
Let me enjoy this.
Excuse them in the locker room. It's over for them. They're going to lose.
I will say Brian Flores, you see the difference in his defense with outside linebackers versus defensive ends. With those defensive ends, he wasn't able to get what he got. Like, you're not getting that interception from an Andrew Van Ginkel. You're not getting a Dallas Turner being able to come off the edge and then drop 3 and send 4. He wasn't getting that because it was very predictable with DJ Wanham and Daniil Hunter that, you know, when those guys were in and they were in a passing situation, those guys were coming. They were not going to drop. So it's a big difference now when a guy like Andrew Van Ginkel can show he's going to come, but he's smart enough to understand, hey, this is a freaking pass, and it's probably a screen to my side. And somebody just said this, that he's now recorded the 2 fastest pick sixes or something like that, or 2 of the fastest pick sixes in NFL history. So I don't know exactly the stat, but they were saying his were 2 of the fastest pick sixes. And so that's what I took away from this game. It was a total dominance by the defense. The offense did just enough, wasn't like super great. There wasn't a huge like Justin Jefferson day or a Jalen Naylor sighting that was like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. It was a very basic offensive game that the defense dominated. Now, the 49ers, their offense is a little bit more, well, let's be honest, a lot better than the Giants offense. So I'm very excited to see next week.
Yeah, I want to keep diving into that a little bit more. But first, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL and win $50 instantly when you place just $5 on any bet. Waited all summer for this. I mean, it was a long offseason, a lot of question marks. What's this Vikings team going to look like? New quarterback, new running back. Obviously, like you said, Ron, shuffled a lot of guys in and out on defense. You even got a rookie kicker in the mix. But, yeah, Sam, just keep the ball rolling here. Kind of more big picture first. Just kind of your biggest takeaways, maybe your 8 topics, just fresh on your mind after this one.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to nail me down on my take going into the season that Sam Darnold is lackluster. Sam Darnold is not going to be a good quarterback. And I think big picture, I still have my reluctancies. I still have my hesitations, but I'm not going to rain on this parade. This is exactly what you wanted. Everything that was there to support Sam Darnold supported Sam Darnold. The play calling, the run game came alive at times, not always, but the run game had some moments. The defense was a huge support, and he made probably 4, 5, 6 really good throws when he was asked to make them in this game, and the Vikings won comfortably. This is a great opening for the Vikings, who needed to bank a win with the schedule getting really tough. Sam Darnold looked confident. Some wackiness with the play clock and letting it wind down too far, but otherwise looked pretty in control. And Aaron Jones looks fresh. Aaron Jones looks good. Like, I think there's a lot to build on here for the Vikings, and I'm not going to be the wet blanket who says, oh, Sam Darnold is still a bad quarterback. He might turn back into a pumpkin next week, but we're going to take this and run with it. The defense, Ron touched on it. That's the big story. Front 7 looks super physical, swarming the football, and the pass defense, much more excellent than I would have expected. The Giants, though, not super sharp-toothed offensively with those weapons or lack thereof.
Yeah, Luke, anything you want to add in there? Just knee-jerk reaction fresh off this one. Again, a lot of questions we wanted answered. Maybe some answers to glean. Small sample size today, but, what's the headline read tomorrow?
Yeah, like the Giants aren't good. And I think you can you're going to hear it all the, oh yeah, they beat the Giants, but it's just the Giants. But that was a blowout. 28-6 is not a remarkable score. It's not 40-6, but that was a blowout. They closed the game out well. That's the big thing for me is you did start to feel it with that Sam Darnold interception that Dexter Lawrence hits his hand going forward and it's a pick. And, they start having weird penalty problems in the middle of the third quarter, just like they always do. And then they pulled out of the tailspin, made a play. You get that Van Ginkel, kind of that dagger play by him. What a phenomenal game by him, by the way, beyond just the times he showed up on the stat sheet. And they kept it together and just closed up the game. Total no drama in the whole fourth quarter. That is I think big to shake off those moments, shake off that fumble at the beginning as well. And go back into having a fairly normal game where you just line up across and you are the better team, and to not let them back into it, not let them feel like they have it. Even if they're getting an insane game out of Dexter Lawrence, that on its own isn't enough without the Vikings making more mistakes than they made, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, that's such a good point. On Thursday, Sam asked us all in the football party, what's the biggest keys to this game? I said, hey, if you're going to lose, fine, but just don't do the whole turnover thing again. 31st in the league last year. Blood pressure, I can't take it. What do they do? Like you said, Luke, they open the season. Opening drive fumble. And of all people, too, it's like your captain, CJ Ham, the veteran.
Yeah.
And had it not been 5 minutes into the game, that might have been the remote through the TV moment. Luckily, I kept my cool. And like you said, Luke, a lot of good points. They weathered the storm. They came back. They calmed down, started playing their brand of football again. Felt like a million penalties in this one, too. I don't know if you guys watch any of the Thursday or Friday games as well. That just seemed to be a huge kind of theme across the league. Maybe, I'll catch up on today's games as well. But refs sending some sort of early message, sending some sort of tone, I guess, with certain rules specifically. But you start like that, though. And as a coach, as a team, quarterback, all that stuff, you just want to put together, let's just start with one nice long drive, get some points, find some sort of rhythm, some sort of momentum. That's exactly what they did, man. Sam Darnold, a masterclass drive, 11 play, 99-yard drive, a la
that was the moment.
Gus Farrat to Bernard Berrien, but like opposite, not just one.
Yeah, play, an actual drive, not just one like smoke busted one-on-one.
Yeah, exactly. What was it? 12 straight completions to start the game too.
It was, and that's the like that's what we've been told about Sam Darnold. Like I don't blame you for being skeptical about that. I was skeptical too, going like, okay, he is supposed to be this more conservative Sam Darnold. The one turnover, you probably are going to say not his fault, because Bradbury got smoked by Dexter Lawrence on that.
Knock it down, Sherfield.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but like. That was I think the only real dangerous moment. A couple of inaccuracies, he's not Kirk. He's not going to put it exactly where he wants to all the time, like Kirk does. But this is the Darnold we were told we were getting. Conservative, but not overly conservative to the point where he plays like a backup, like he's Sean Mannion, takes care of the football, puts the ball where he means to, reads out the concepts well, and puts things in on time. That's all you need. And the Vikings moved the ball pretty much at will until they started basically shutting the engines down and going for a run game only thing to kill the clock.
Yeah. And like Sam, to your point, man, such a low bar we had with Sam Darnold coming in, given his last, 3 pit stops. Like, I get it. Let's just see if you can run an NFL offense when you got time in the pocket, go make some smart decisions, some accurate throws. And he did that today, man. When he had that clean pocket, they called it out on the broadcast multiple times. When he had that clean pocket, he was throwing darts, man. Ron, just to kind of circle back, get your final thoughts on just Sam Darnold, the KOC Sam Darnold relationship, and this offense as a whole before we move on.
Yeah, I think when you see what Sam Darnold is, and I've said this over and over and over again, you give him time. I think Kevin O'Connell can make a lot of quarterbacks look better than they are. And that's just making the right decisions. Even the delay of game, you can see Kevin O'Connell was pissed off, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just call the play. If you don't know the play, tell me, give me a heads up that you can't hear the play or it's coming in too late. If it's whatever, I think it was like 7 seconds left in the play clock, if you can't shift in motion, just run the play from where we're at or line them up. So I think there's little things Kevin O'Connell still wants out of Sam Darnold. The best thing that happened for them was playing the Giants week 1 and not the 49ers or Packers, because now they get to work out the kinks of like, hey, this is where he's a little bit slow. This is maybe where he can't think as quick as Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had been in that offense for a while, where this is Sam Darnold's first time. But I think the relationship looked great. Again, Sam Darnold didn't do anything completely. And you're right, that interception I wouldn't put on him. Also, those 3 points, I wouldn't put on the defense. That's the offense. Their fumble gave the Giants 3 points. Mm-hmm. And I said that interception, I can't really put that on him specifically. It's a batted ball. And then you're right, the receiver has to play defensive back at that point. But their relationship to me seems pretty good. I mean, I think he's getting what he wanted out of Sam Darnold, which is like Sam Darnold from 2018 to 2022. I didn't count 2023 because Kirk Cousins got hurt. Sam Darnold threw 55 interceptions in that span, and he only threw 62 touchdowns. So I think that's the problem, is like the number of interceptions did not match the number of touchdowns, where vice versa. Kirk Cousins in that same span threw for just about a little bit more, I think, interceptions, but way more touchdowns. And so you have to be and like Sam Darnold threw for like 11,000 yards. Kirk Cousins threw for 20,000 yards. So the fact that he threw for 11,000 yards and 55 interceptions, and Kirk Cousins threw for 20,000, almost 21,000 yards. We didn't see that today. Thank goodness. Like Sam Darnold didn't make the wrong reads. Looked like he was getting the ball out of his hands quick, even if it wasn't going to be completed. And I think that's going to be the key down the stretch. Like that one deep ball to Justin Jefferson, that was the wheel route. If he throws it a little bit more to the outside, understanding the entire world's watching Justin Jefferson, is probably a completion.
Yeah, well said. Good breakdown there. Lots more to get into, including the rookie report. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Football officially back. So whether it's receptions, sacks, interceptions, anytime touchdowns, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less, add them to your PrizePicks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download PrizePicks app today. Use code all lowercase LOCKEDONNFL for $50 instantly when you bet just $5 on any pick. Today's episode also brought to us by BetterHelp, because when your schedule is packed with big work projects and more, it's easy to let your priorities start to slip, even when we know what makes us happy. Sometimes it's hard to make time for it, but when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. If you've been thinking about starting therapy, time to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be flexible, convenient, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do, fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched up with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. All right, by the way, let's get the whole crew in here. By the way, you're going to be doing a full deep dive into every little nook and cranny of this thing tomorrow morning on the Football Party with Arif Hassan. So make sure you make sure you subscribe to this, make sure you jump into all the action every Monday and Thursday for that. All right, before we get to the rookie report, you guys kind of touched on the defense. I feel like we got to spend a couple more minutes on this defense, man. Again, small sample size. Luke, you called it out. Giants aren't good, but man, the speed they played with, flying all over, making life miserable for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Dude, that was fun, man. Any other just kind of obvious big takeaways from the defensive side of the ball? Any of you guys can jump in.
I have a stat to start this out, and it comes from the bold prediction segment that I do every Friday on Locked On Vikings. Somebody hit one by predicting and getting right that Aaron Jones would have a higher yards per carry than Daniel Jones's depth of target.
Wow.
So that would be about six versus 5 or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
That's really good.
I mean,
that
tells you the story, right?
Yeah,
and not only that the run game
story.
did get going a little bit, but Daniel Jones forced into, I think, the habit that he's a get the ball out quick quarterback. He's always been pretty good at that, for better or worse. And not to mention, they're going to do some bubble screens. They're going to do some little stuff. But not being able to go deep, and when he wants to go deep, also missing on a lot of those, that helps him out. I think definitely a better offense can move the ball on what we saw from Flores' defense, just because sometimes the blitzes didn't get home. And, one goes high over Wan'Dale Robinson in a beautiful soft spot in the zone and all that. But, hey, we take those. Get good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a deep throw classified as 20 or more yards downfield. I said on the Thursday football party, Daniel Jones does not throw deep. He's the most reluctant deep thrower in the league. I counted one completion that might be classified as 20 yards downfield to Neighbors. Otherwise, it was all short. And I also said, because he doesn't go deep, I think it's not a blitz game. And I don't think it was. I think the blitz rate was actually pretty low. I think they showed it a lot more than they brought it. They just clogged the middle of the field. They rallied to the ball. They tackled quite well in the game. Singletary was well contained. And I thought they had bodies close to a lot of receivers. Sticky coverage, and it forced, a lot of contested balls to be incomplete. A very little run after catch in any case. The secondary is what impressed me. I felt pretty good about the front seven going in. The secondary, which hasn't played together really at all in the preseason, they've been hurt, and they brought in Gilmore late. I thought they looked good considering the circumstances.
Yeah, and you're not wrong, Sam. I mean, great breakdown there. I just want to remind everybody that's the same exact Daniel Jones that beat us in the playoffs without really converting any of those long passes too. So yeah, coming off the ACL, maybe not as mobile and all that, but yeah, obviously we've come a long way from the Ed Donatel defense. Ron, any final just little tidbits or anything that jumped out to you about this fast flying defense that Flores put out there today?
I mean, the biggest thing is we saw third down. They had, 7 to 8 guys at the line of scrimmage at times, and one of the safety ran out pretty quick. He could do that, and Daniel Jones just second guess himself for half a second. And then honestly, like after talking to some of the coaches before about this and the players, seeing Josh Metellus line up at the linebacker level, not like he played linebacker, but that pass breakup he made, I think he was going to his right, our left on the TV. He covered a ton of ground, but he did it as soon as Daniel Jones stared down the guy in the slot because he knew it was zone, but he stared him down. And Josh Metellus jumped on it right away and took off running full speed. And so if he doesn't do that, that's a completion. And that's what Josh Metellus brings to this defense. You could tell early on, like Flores was just dialing up different. I mean, there was that screen even to Devin Singletary. If they had realized, right away what was going to happen, that's a sack.
Yeah, I want to branch off what Ron's talking about here. Yep. Oh, Ron,
you're breaking up a little bit.
Ron's getting a little choppy. I just want to branch off of what Ron was just touching on there. New segment. I'm calling it the Coach's Corner. Okay. This could be any new wrinkles that caught your eye or specific, play design, a substitution, anything as far as the coaches go. So KOC, Brian Flores, Matt Daniels. Real quick, offensively, a lot more Josh Oliver today in the passing game finally. That was kind of nice to see. Obviously, paying him a lot of money. Didn't really get him involved in the passing game much last year, especially with Hawkinson out. Time to lean on him a little bit more. So just another layer of stress you can add on that defense. But defensively, man, that NASCAR package, is that what we're calling it? The third and longs, Van Ginkel, Turner, Bernard. Okay, thank you. Pat Jones, Jihad Ward, actually. In fact, Ward was out there making some more plays than I kind of anticipated today. I didn't know how that end of the edge, I guess, depth chart or rotation was going to look like. Assumed maybe more Pat Jones, but Jihad Ward was out there making some plays. Coach's Corner, anything that jumped out to you guys as far as that stuff goes? Luke or Sam, go ahead.
I think Flores held a lot of his cards close to the chest still. Yeah. I think you look at the state of this O-line, Andrew Thomas, very good. A lot of question marks outside of it. And you go, we can just kind of call the regular little stunts. We don't need to go through all the crazy exotics. They did a little bit of that. They sprinkled a little bit in, but it did feel a little bit like Flores was holding back because he, I think, correctly assessed that you don't need to exactly empty the whole clip on this one. Maybe save some stuff for San Francisco or divisional games.
Yeah, very encouraging off that too as well. Yeah, Sam, what do you think? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I gleaned from who was simply active in the game, I believe there were only 4 interior defensive linemen even active because they DNP'd Redmond, they DNP'd Levi Drake Rodriguez, and then they played all their edges, right? So they're just going to have athletic dudes on the field at all times. They're going to keep 3 defensive ends or outside linebackers out there for passing downs, which is clear. Dallas Turner's going to have a huge role in that. But, I don't know if we're allowed to talk offense in this segment. I think that the play that everybody's going to be doing The play that Orlovsky and Baldy are going to break down is the touchdown to Jalen Naylor, right? Like that is just
that was so sick.
Play calling masterpiece with
Glad
Jefferson
you called that out. Yes.
in the backfield, all eyes on Jefferson. He flashes out to the right in the flat. He brings up the defensive back, leaves Naylor in a one-on-one, and a great throw by Sam Darnold.
Just a little shoulder fake from Darnold, and that's all it takes.
Yep. Sucks the defensive back in with his eyes, and then he goes to Naylor. I mean, Ron, you had to appreciate that offensive piece of mastery.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically just a bluff screen. So the bluff by the inside receiver, which they normally run that where they block and Justin Jefferson gets one-on-one. They also have it where he's 2 yards behind Sam Darnold. That's going to come where they throw it to Justin Jefferson and he throws it down the field, across the field, or down the field deep. So there's a lot to that Kevin O'Connell has. There's layers to his offense. And so, yeah, that was a great play call. And Jalen Naylor didn't rush it because if he runs full speed by the DB is going to alert like, oh, wait, he's some behind me. He didn't have time to alert because Jalen Naylor kind of made him think like, oh, I want to block you. As he comes up, boom, it's too late. He threw it a second later, it's probably had it down. The fact that he got out of his hands pretty quick was also a testament to I'm going to just play no kind of call here.
I would love to start this new segment called Rookie Report. Couple big names on both teams making their big league debut. Dallas Turner, Malik Neighbors, Tyler Nubin, go for stud, safety, top 50 pick. Not to mention guys like, Will Reichert, etc. But honestly, Dallas Turner, he had a penalty early in the game. Then he had that sack. Tyler Nubin made some nice plays. Malik Neighbors was decent. We knew what that was going to look like, in their passing game, their only big play threat. I think 6 catches, 63 yards, something like that. Not a ton of, big takeaways, though, really. Did you guys see anything from either side of the field, I guess, from any of these rookies out there today?
I liked what I saw from Dallas Turner. Again, like kind of a role-playing thing a lot of the time on defensive line, and obviously Van Ginkel gets the headlines on that D-line. Right. And Harrison Phillips, who I thought was just dominant too. But for what he was asked to do, crash in, loop around, get his first sack ever, that works too.
Yeah.
Like that'll play. That's all you need from him right now as the kind of rotational third guy with Grenard and Van Ginkel, and the good games that they had. Like I think the free agents sort of outshined the rookies here in terms of like off-season acquisitions, yeah. But certainly nothing to be concerned about. A lot of like getting Dallas Turner's first sack of his career too is really cool. Nice that was fun.
That. Yeah, and again, dropping him in coverage game one, dude. Game one.
Yep.
Yeah, dropped him in a coverage as well. Love that. We heard about that. We knew that the night he was drafted, Brian Flores already going home, starting to drop some plays, going to really maximize his athleticism and versatility. So cool to finally see it. But again, small sample. It's only week 1 of these guys. Hopefully long careers. Quick injury news. Jordan Addison left the game. Was it the same ankle? Was it the same ankle injury?
Kevin O'Connell said no. I thought it was, but Kevin O'Connell said it was the other ankle.
Got it. Okay. I know you guys just, give a shout out to Jalen Naylor. He looked great for the most part in his place. I know we talked a lot about training camp depth. Are they going to keep 5, keep 6? But regardless, though, that's a tough pill to swallow, man. We'll see tomorrow or Tuesday, I'm assuming, what the prognosis is on that. Any other injuries I may have missed, or was it just Addison? And how do you guys feel if, no Jordan Addison next week versus San Francisco?
Yeah,
not on the Vikings side of the ball.
Seemed like a clean game injury-wise, except for Addison. And again, he wasn't writhing in pain on the field. He wasn't down for a long time. It sounds like he did walk off. Now, it could still be serious, especially if it's the other ankle. If he has 2 compromised ankles, that's going to hurt him considerably because he looked quite healthy when he was out there on the first handful of drives. On the 99-yard drive especially, Darnold was cooking to Jordan Addison. 3 catches, 35 yards in the game. I guess it's activate Tristan Jackson time. I was a bit surprised to see him inactive with Sherfield active. I think Jackson,
that's a special teams move for sure. Yeah.
Is it? Yep. Certainly was. But I think that Jackson has something to offer. So I'm really looking forward to that. Jalen Naylor, wide receiver 2. That could be the case next week in the home opener. But I think the Vikings come out of here healthy, and you can't take that for granted after you see Jordan Love go down in game 1 and suddenly the Packers season is like in question. You got to be grateful for that you kept, a lot of your stars and most important players intact for the most part.
Well, the Vikings have like 6 guys on IR right now. So, yeah, definitely can't take that for granted.
All right, one more quick segment to go. We'll do a little quick sneak peek at week 2 versus the Niners. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Gametime, because you should never have to worry when buying tickets to any big event. That's why Gametime, it's the fastest, it's the easiest way to buy tickets to any local event. We're talking concerts, comedy shows, sporting events, Broadway theater, and with killer last-minute deals and their best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Personally, for me, I love that view from the seat feature, so I can get a real look where my seats are going to be, and I know exactly what to expect before you spend all that money. Plus, they're all-in prices. Gametime shows you exactly how much you're spending with no hidden fees. Time to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app. See for yourself how easy it is. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Again, just create any new account. Redeem your code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Go download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Gametime, terms apply. Okay, how about just got a couple minutes here before we got to get out of here, but just a quick sneak peek at this Niners game on deck. Week 2, it's the home opener. Obviously, we don't watch the Niners play until tomorrow night, week 1, Monday Night Football versus the Jets, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. But just after seeing the Vikes today, I guess, what's going to be the big X factor? What matchups intrigue you the most there? Ron, we can start with you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be Trent Williams versus this pass rush. I mean, you look at that offensive line, the way they move the ball, the way they use the tight ends. They use their tight ends way more than what we saw today from the Giants, even though the Giants tried some stuff, didn't work. And so I think that's going to be a big key for these outside linebackers, dealing with the tight ends and the offensive tackles of the 49ers. That's the one I'm really watching.
I feel like the Vikings cornerbacks, while they held up fine, I don't know if they were really tested that much. I mean, Malik Neighbors seems like by far their best receiver already. Beyond that, not hauling in any contested catches, not hauling in, not giving Daniel Jones any favors in this game. I think the receiving core will test them considerably more. I don't know if we got a great indication on Shaq Griffin today or Stephon Gilmore. They just weren't tested that much at all. So next week is going to be a lot better doppelganger as to how proficient this secondary is.
Yeah, there's a lot more trouble, I think, in the open field coming at you with Debo, McCaffrey, assuming McCaffrey plays. I don't know exactly how hurt he is, but yeah, that and it'll be a different kind of challenge on the D-line. Dexter Lawrence is obviously the headline of that Giants defensive line. I love Brian Burns. I am not as big on Thibs, but I think Dexter Lawrence is genuinely the best at his position in the league. Mm-hmm. So the way that they approached him in this game, I think, was a lot of duo, because duo guarantees a double team on the inside there. And if Dexter Lawrence does break the play, the next read for the running back is to bounce it outside. And Aaron Jones made a lot of money on that today. Next week, it's a little different because the main challenge is Nick Bosa. That's on the edge. That's going to be a different shape of things that probably changes a little bit of the game plan, and maybe we see a little bit more, rolling out away from him, a little bit more kind of mid-zone right at him where you can read him and try to neutralize him in that way. And a lot of the same stuff we saw last time the Vikings played Nick Bosa, and they shut him down pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff just going into the season for the Niners, too. They're super banged up. You have the whole Brandon Ayuk. Will they trade him? Won't they trade him? They end up bringing him in. But, does he need a week or two to get rolling? So I think just seeing which guys are playing, which guys are active, which guys are actually on the field and 100% for them, that's going to be a big factor. What C-Mac looked like, obviously, everything kind of runs through him on offense. But last year, we all remember it. Last year, Vikes shocked the world, right, so to speak, beat him on primetime, made life really tough for Brock Purdy, who, take it with a grain of salt, obviously, but he did not look very good in the preseason at all. So we'll see how he looks tomorrow night versus arguably a top 3 defense versus the New York Jets. What else stuck out just around the NFL today? I know a lot of these games are just wrapping up. I'm going to try to pull the scoreboard up, but anything just like, whoa, okay, NFL's
weird
back,
debut for Caleb Williams. Weird debut. And this is exactly the guy he was in college, taking 20-yard sacks, weird kind of chaos plays, but tipped up, touchdown, weird stuff. Yep. But no offensive scores for the Bears.
Kirk
that
Cousins.
Right? They scored 24 points, no offensive scores.
Yeah, one pick six. I think one on special teams. I think another defensive. There's like a fumble or something weird. Sort of a Will Levis meltdown that leads the Bears to a win. But it was a very vintage Bears game, which we were kind of told we were
Simone
getting.
Biles' husband with a big special teams touchdown.
Ooh.
Kirk Cousins lost to the Steelers, who had 6 field goals in the game with Justin Fields at quarterback.
Wow. Okay.
Leave it
So,
right there.
all right, we're back, baby. We're back. Okay. Gambling's back as well, by the way, our gambling picks. Remember, I told you Indy is 0-9-1 in their last 10 week 1 games. So I went with Houston -2.5, thinking no problem. Houston wins by how many? They win by 2. So here we go.
I had Dolphins 3.5, and they won by 3. So they're
that actually makes me feel a little bit better.
We're back.
Maybe. That actually
had
makes me feel a
my
little bit
Ravens
better.
-3. They would have covered if it weren't for Isaiah Likely's shoe size.
Any final takeaways? NFC North? Did you guys watch Packers Eagles? Obviously, Jordan Love. That was kind of a hot topic the last 24, 48 hours. Okay.
Wait, what's the deal there? Is he expect? Because I hear 3 to 6 weeks, but we would be 3. So does that include our game, or is the first one he can come back the next one?
And that's a big window too. That feels like a big window for that.
Yeah,
it's
an MCL sprain. That's tough.
MCL sprain too. So
optimism internally, though, according to Pelissero.
Right. So that obviously injury is such a huge part of the NFL and the game week to week. But obviously that is a huge one. Can't feel great if you're a Packer fan with Malik Willis back there, but. Again, on any given week, obviously, as Vikings fan, we know that feeling all too well going through the Nick Mullins carousel, the Josh Dobbs carousel, and all that stuff. So just glad Sam Darnold got out of here clean and looked very sharp for sure. Can't wait to break all this stuff down with you guys tomorrow on the Football Party. Vikes get the blowout win in week 1 versus the G-Men. Final score 28-6. Only gets a little tougher from here, though. San Fran next week, home opener in the backyard at the bank. Kickoff for that one, another 12 p.m. start time. Huge shout out to all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. We'll be back each and every game right here, breaking it all down. Go check out all of Luke's work each and every day on Locked On Vikings. Ron Johnson, he had to leave a little early, but Ron Johnson Show, that's every Tuesday, plus Sam Ekstrom hosting the full crew on the Minnesota Football Party. Again, that's every Monday and every Thursday. Should be a great episode tomorrow. Again, don't want to miss that. Go like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So close. I've been saying this for 2 months, but we are truly so close to 8,000 subscribers, and that's always much, much appreciated as well. All right, Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. We'll see you next time versus the Niners, but until then, signing out.